commenting on courage, specifically courage as a quality of character in coaching. In sport, courage goes beyond physical toughness or competitiveness. It involves making difficult decisions that align with ethical values, even when there is pressure to choose an easier path. This presentation will focus on how courage functions in ethical coaching and leadership. Coaches regularly face ethical pressure from athletes, parents, administrators, and the community. Ethics in sport is not just about knowing what is right, but acting on it consistently. Courage is what allows leaders to uphold their values when those values are tested. Without courage, ethical standards often remain theoretical rather than practical. Courage is not the absence of fear or doubt. It is the willingness to act despite fear, discomfort, or personal risk. In an ethical context, courage is guided by values rather than emotion. This means choosing what is right even when the outcome is uncertain. So, side by side of courage versus comfort, comfort often protects popularity and avoids conflict. Courage, on the other hand, protects principles and confronts challenges directly. Ethical leadership frequently creates discomfort because doing what is right is not always what is easy. This tension is where courage becomes necessary. Ethical courage in coaching requires consistency in behavior and decision making. This means holding all athletes to the same standards regardless of talent or status. It also includes addressing issues immediately rather than avoiding them. Ultimately, ethical courage prioritizes athlete well being over winning. Everyday coaching decisions often require courage. Benching talented players, confronting misconduct, and resisting pressure from parents or administrators all test a coach's commitment to ethical leadership. These moments reveal whether a coach's values are truly guiding their actions. Research by Sakurka and Bagazi demonstrates that moral courage is learned and practiced over time. They describe moral courage as a process rather than a fixed personality trait. Their work shows that ethical leaders build trust and shape the ethical climate of their organizations. This reinforces the idea that courage can be developed through experience and reflection. When applied to coaching, this research suggests that athletes closely observe how coaches act. Ethical courage helps reduce misconduct by setting clear expectations. It also strengthens accountability, trust, and team culture. Over time, courageous leadership influences how athletes model ethical behavior. According to Coach Kuhnau and Schlichtenmeyer, courage is an acquired state of mind. This definition emphasizes that courage is developed rather than innate. For coaches, this means ethical courage can be intentionally strengthened. Repeated ethical actions reinforce courageous decision making. Courage should be viewed as a leadership habit rather than a single act. Athletes notice how coaches respond under pressure and in difficult situations. Consistent, courageous behavior builds credibility over time. Inconsistency, however, quickly undermines trust. In the movie Remember the Titans, Coach Boone confronted racial hostility and deep resistance. He enforced equal standards for all athletes despite the backlash he faced. His leadership illustrates ethical courage in the face of intense pressure. The film provides a clear and relatable coaching example. Coach Boone's decisions challenge long-standing traditions and expectations. These choices created short-term conflict and discomfort. However, his courage ultimately built trust, unity, and respect within the team. This highlights the long-term value of ethical courage. Coach Tony Dungy emphasizes that courage is tested when doing the right thing comes at a cost. Ethical leadership often requires sacrifice, including reputation or short-term success. Dungy's perspective reinforces that courage is central to ethical coaching. Doing what is right is rarely the easiest option. When courage is absent, standards become inconsistent, athletes receive mixed messages about expectation and values, trust begins to erode over time. This ultimately harms athlete development and team culture. Courage in coaching leadership involves making value-based decisions when outcomes are uncertain. It requires modeling ethical behavior consistently, not selectively. Coaches also establish culture through what they tolerate. Courage ensures that standards outweigh comfort. Ethics require more than good intentions or awareness. Courage connects values to action in real leadership situations. Without courage, ethical standards cannot be sustained under pressure. This connection makes courage essential in ethical leadership. Courage is essential to ethical leadership in coaching. Ethical courage develops through consistent action over time. Coaches who lead with courage influence athlete character and trust. This impact extends beyond sport into long-term development. Thank you for your time and attention. This concludes my presentation on courage and ethical leadership in coaching. I appreciate the opportunity to discuss this topic.